Sahanavavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Good evening and welcome back. I know there is a little bit of confusion for the Indian participants because of the time change. So I was getting a lot of message. Hopefully they could join. So let's continue our discussion of the chapter 7, one of the most beautiful chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the beauty of this chapter is, this is the chapter Krishna is explaining about who is he. He is giving an introduction to Krishna himself. So one of the idea we always follow in our Vedic teaching is, God needs to be understood rather than blindly believed in. Please keep this in mind. Devotion means love. We cannot love anything when we don't know that. If you're asked to love XYZ, you cannot love that person or that object. Unless and otherwise we know whom we are loving, that love is not a true love. So if we wanted to love and devoted to God, if you approach this whole idea from a bhakti perspective itself, we need to understand Ishvara. So that's why we are taking time and going through this chapter very slowly. Usually we cover 4 verses a day, but in this chapter, we are covering only 2-3 verses a day, but still that is fine. We need to understand this chapter rather than just doing the checkbox of the verses. So that's why I try to recap also, summarizing everything up to we covered. And we need to use our Q&A session at the end. We reserve 15 minutes at the end to clarify any questions or elaborate any thought. So please use that. So in this chapter, Krishna said, the Ishvara or the God has 2 dimensions. One is called Para-Prakriti and the other one is called Apara-Prakriti. Loosely translated into English, we call it as transcendent nature of God, and the other one is immanent nature of the God. And we try to understand, meaning we understood the relationship between the world and the God. The relationship between the world and God is kind of a cause and effect. If the world is an effect, we saw that there has to be a cause called God, or the cause of this universe is called God. Whatever is that God, we don't know. We can put it as X, or in Vedanta, we call it as Om, a sound syllable representing the reality of the universe. And we used 4 examples to understand the difference or the relationship between God and the world, Ishvara, and the Jagat. Right? So the first one was like a pot and the pot maker, the clay. So every pot implies a cause. What is the cause from which the pot is created? We saw that it is clay. But there is a gap in that example. What is that gap? Because every effect implies at least 2 types of cause. One is called the intelligent cause. The other one is called the material cause. In the case of the pot and the pot, the intelligent cause is the pot maker, and the material cause is the clay. And interestingly, the material cause and the intelligent cause are different. The pot maker needs an external object called clay to produce the pot. And the clay by itself will not become the pot without the support of the intelligent cause. When this nimitta karana and the upadana karana, intelligent cause and the material cause, work together, then only the product will happen. So in the case of the Jagat, the universe, and the Ishvara, the God, that relationship is slightly different. The intelligent cause as well as the material cause are the one and the same. So that is why we called Ishvara as Abhinna, Nimitta, Upadana, Karana. That is how we called Ishvara. Abhinna means non-separate. Nimitta, Upadana, Karana means intelligent cause and the material cause. So the one who is the material cause and the intelligent cause of the universe is called Ishvara or the God. And this is what is Ishvara, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. To illustrate, we took the second example of a spider and the web. The spider won't borrow something from externally, just like the pot maker need an external object, clay. The spider don't need an external thing to create the web. The web comes out of the spider. But that example, or this example is from Mundaka Upanishad. But this example also has defect. And we know that every example has defect, and that is why it's an example. So the third example to compensate this is the Swapna Drishtanta. In a dream, what happens is the material cause of the dream. Let's say that I'm in a dream place, dream time. I'm sitting in a place, I'm experiencing the sky, the earth, the water, and the tea and everything. The material of that dream world is created by my mind stuff or the consciousness. And if intelligence, the logic is also came from me. So I can say that I am the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana of the dream. So that's another example. This example also has defect because world is not a dream of Ishvara. Again, this is for example. So what we need to understand is there are two aspects. What is directly I can experience in this space and time, and that is called the immanent aspect of the Ishvara. Everything you can experience as physical, emotional, intellectual belongs to that category. This is the immanent aspect of the Ishvara, and that is called Apara Prakriti. And there is one aspect of the Ishvara which is beyond this time, beyond this place, and beyond this order of the reality. Just like the dreamer cannot directly experience the waking world, the person lying on the bed, the dreamer cannot directly know. Just like that, there is an aspect of the Ishvara which is beyond the order of reality I am in, and that aspect is known as transcendent nature of the Ishvara, and that is Paraprakriti. And that Paraprakriti can be experienced as the consciousness in me in my current time and space. Just like the dreamer, the consciousness of the dreamer as well as the waker is the same. The consciousness of me is the consciousness of everything. So that is how we say that Tat Tvamasi, or I am Atma Brahma, the individual self equal to the Supreme Paramatma. So this much explanation is given by Krishna. And after that, he tried to explain. You guys search for the God everywhere, but you are not experiencing it. It's easy. Wherever you see some glory in this universe, that is me. So he said, Rasohamapsu Kaunteya, Prabhasmi Shashisureyo, that verses. The light in the sun and the moon, the intelligence of the intellect, All those things are me. Wherever you see or experience some glory in this universe, that is me. So that type of explanation is given. And then on verse 13, which was Krishna gave a detailed explanation. What is the fundamental problem? When you know that Ishvara is the cause of everything, why you are not able to find that Ishvara? Why you are not able to find that Ishvara in this midst of world? So he said, my Maya, which is of the threefold nature, my manifestations of the universe is so attracting, so captivating, it captures your mind. It won't allow you to see the God which is beyond this universe. So I get addicted to this world and I try to find the permanent peace and happiness in this changing world without knowing that you cannot find the permanent happiness and peace in this changing world. So just like Shankaracharya quotes in this verse, when you take a dip in a river, in a river with a lot of flow, what you can do is you can hook onto a chain or you can hold on to a chain, then you can enjoy that bath. Without the support of that anchor on the permanent thing, a changeless thing, if you step into the river, what is going to happen? You will be carried away by the flowing river. So most of us, we get into this universe. It is fantastic. It is attractive without getting hold on to that God or Ishvara. And we will be carried away by the flow of the water of the universe. And this problem is called samsara. The problem of the samsara was explained on verse 13, very important verse, because this addresses the fundamental problem. And the solution is given on the verse 14. Verse 14, Krishna said, what is the solution? Is it running away from the world and sitting in the cave? Not at all. You want to enjoy the beautiful bath in that river, lively river. What you need that protection, you need that anchoring, you need that hook. So get hold of that God, Ishvara, and then enjoy the world. This is the most positive philosophy. It's not asking you to sarvam dukkham, run away. It's not like some impractical explanations of some Buddhist teaching, right? Lord Buddha didn't say that, but when you get that interpreted, sometimes it happens. They say that sarvam dukkham, so go away, run away. Some Vedantins also say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, so you run away from the world. That is not what is said in the Gita. That is not what is said in the Upanishad. Get on to this hook, God, and enjoy the world in a dharmic way. So that is what Krishna said, connection with the God, getting hooked by the God, hooked into the God, or getting connected with that God. And that process is defined as bhakti, sharanagati, everything. And Krishna said, when you hold on to me, I will help you to cross this Maya. And whatever happens in this life, I will be there with you. So that is the real bhakti. And then Krishna said, there are two categories of people. Dushkritika, that is the first category. What happens? These people who do not value dharma, dharma means doing what needs to be done, more than what I like to do, what needs to be done, what is to be done, what is the right thing to do. People who do that, meaning, people who do not follow that dharma, they are called dushkritika. They do wrong action. And these people are at the lower end of the evolution, right? They don't recognize the Ishvara. They think that from this material world, I can find peace and happiness, and they don't follow dharma. And such people, Krishna say, they exhibit a low level characteristics among the human being. And such people demonstrate the characteristics of an asura, right? We said Sura versus Asura. Asura is not somebody who is seen in the mythology. Asura is in us. If you really look deep inside us, you see a Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, all these people inside us. So such people take the power. They became an Asura. And even though they live in this world, they are Asura. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about dharma. Their happiness, for that they do everything. And they don't recognize Ishvara. They don't get connected to Ishvara. So that is one category of each people. Now, the second category of people, when they get evolved a little bit, what is going to happen? They recognize the presence of Ishvara in their life. When they recognize the presence of Ishvara, what is going to happen? They start relating to Ishvara. They start relating to Ishvara. We saw that 4 types of people get connected with Ishvara. So at least the good thing is that they understand Ishvara. They know that there is a higher power and they try to connect with that. And we saw, because we spend a lot of time, again, I'm taking a little bit more time just to make sure that this idea is very clear. The first category of people who devoted to Ishvara is called Artaha. Artaha means what? They are in distress. They are in pain. When they are in pain, they talk about Ishvara. They invoke Ishvara and they worship Ishvara. And for what? To get rid of that pain. So what exactly is their end goal? The end goal is not really get connected to Ishvara or anything like that. Ishvara is only a broker, or Ishvara is only a means for a material end. So we said such people are what? Religious materialists. Remember that word we coined. They are religious, but they are materialists because their goal is a material goal. And there is nothing wrong in that. Krishna said they are sukritaha. They are, at least they are able to recognize Ishvara. So that is the, we call it as manda bhakti, or the lower type of devotion, but that is not bad. That is better than anadharma. And the second category of people, artharthi, they don't have any distress, but they want to pursue something in their life. I want that promotion, or I want this much money, or I want that admission in this college, or I want whatever it is, right? I want that house, or I want to visit that place. All these things, or I want love from that person. Everything. Artha, arthi. Arthi means seeker. Artha means a goal. They are seeking a goal. They are not trying to get rid of a problem, but they're trying to seek something in their life. And that is called artharthi. So artha will seek God only when there is a problem comes in. Artharthi, he will seek God always. What happens? He will seek the blessings of the God. I read a good joke about sarcastic comment of Swami Dayananda Saraswati. He was telling like a bhakta, a big rich businessman going to Balaji, and he offered a lot of money into the hundi. You know what Swamiji says? He's a clever person. Why? What is he doing? He is making God as his business partner. Again, there is nothing wrong in that. It is better to make God as the business partner than somebody else. So this is the second category of bhakta. And the third category, so again, artha and artharthi both are religious but materialists. Religious materialists. That's it. The third category of the bhakta, he knows that, yes, among these he knows that whatever I seek in this world, that is not going to give me permanent happiness, peace, or anything like that. So I need something higher. I need to know the God, but I am separate from the God. So he's inquisitive about what? Knowing God. So he tried to understand God. He tried to follow karma yoga, upasana yoga, etc. So he is called jijnasu. So he can be religious as well as a spiritualist. So spiritually religious. The other one is materially religious. And finally, Jnani is the one who has already known the Ishvara, who got his identity established with Ishvara. And that devotee is the highest devotee. So Jijnasu is the mediocre devotee. Again, this is not putting meaning categorizing people. God won't categorize. This is for our understanding. Just say that it is evolving, right? So you cannot say that first standard is not is bad and the PhD is higher. No, it's an evolution. You start with first standard, go to second standard, you go to 10th, you go to 12th, you go to college, and then PhD. So that way, what is going to happen is you start as Artha, you go to as Artharthi, then go to Jijnasu, and finally becoming Jnani. Jnani is the Uttama Bhakta. And Krishna said, out of all the Bhakta, this Jnani is Vishishyate. But in my opinion, this Jnani is the most exalted. Why? Because his love for me is the greatest love. He sees me as himself, and I am the most dearest one for him, and for me also he is the dearest. The logic is what? It's not to say that the other bhaktas are bad. When we say we love somebody, we had this discussion. Whom do you love most? Myself. That's not, we cannot say anything else. We cannot say our spouse or child or anything in this world. We love ourselves. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati, right? That is what it is. A wife is dear to the husband because of what? Her presence makes me happy, right? I may sacrifice my need for the child. Why? Because that is what makes me happy. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So the person, everybody loves themselves most. There is no doubt about it. Let's be honest. So if that is the case, the Jnani sees God as himself. So since he loves himself most, he loves the God most. That is why Krishna said, his love is the most intense love for me. So this is the topic we saw. So let's continue. So we saw 16, 17, and now we see 18. So Anu, can you chant this?
Yes. Udara sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam asthitas sahi yuktatma mamevānuttamām gatim.
And just to make us all comfortable, Krishna said, Udara sarva etaite. All these people means all the four categories of bhakta we talked about. Artha, Jijnasu, Artharthi, Jnani. All of them are really exalted. All of them are noble, praiseworthy. All of them are good people. Sukritaha. But he tells, the one who knows me is myself alone, right? That is what is the Jnani. So what is the difference of Jnani? He knows me and he is me alone. Krishna said, this is my vision, right? This is my vision, because the one whose mind is absorbed in me has reached me alone, and which is the supreme end. So that is the difference, right? So Udara sarva etaite. All these people are noble. Jnani tvatmaiva me matam. This is like a sutra. Sutra means it is an aphorism. Jnani tvam atma me matam. The Jnani knows me as myself. This is the Vedanta, like a Tattvamasi Ahamatma Bandha, Atma Brahma, that type of words. The Jnani, the person who knows me, is knows me as myself. Then Astita, he established himself, he abides himself in me. Astita Sahi Yuktatma. He just get connected with me always. Mamevan Uttamam Gatim. Gati means the goal. Mameva means me, as the ultimate goal. He already established himself, me, the ultimate goal of everybody's life. So all these people are noble, but the Jnani is the wisest because he knows me completely. He establishes in me completely. He gets absorbed in me completely. And me, when Krishna say me, don't say Mr. Krishna, because a lot of people make mistakes. Krishna is talking here as the Paraprakriti, Brahman, the reality. So those who get connected with Brahman, the reality, they are the most exalted being. See, some fanatic Vaishnava, what they say. Mamevam Uttamam Gati. He said, in Gita, it is said that Krishna is the ultimate destination. So Shiva is not the ultimate destination. Such misinterpretations people make. So let's not fall into that trap. Krishna never said that. In next upcoming verse, he is going to clarify. This is when Krishna talks here as me, he talking as the Parabrahman, he talking as the Paraprakriti. If you look at the sequence of words, you understand that. He said, I have two nature, Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. And here Jnani, by Jnani, he means the one who knows the Paraprakriti, which is beyond the space, beyond this time. The Paraprakriti, how can you know the Paraprakriti? He understands that the consciousness in himself is the consciousness in every being. And what is the roadmap that leads one to that discovery is the scripture. The role of the scripture is a means of knowledge to get that identity revealed. So this is very important. So that is why Jnani is praised here. So a couple of points. One thing is, he says that all the devotees are noble, right? Because all of them recognize the Ishvara. The goal might be different. For some people, it might be material goal, and some people, it might be spiritual goal. But it doesn't matter. At least they all recognize Ishvara, right? And what is the difference of Jnani from other Bhakta? Because Jnani is not different from the Ishvara itself. Because his mind is completely absorbed in Bhagavan. So it is like a person in the dream become a lucid dream. When the dream becomes the lucid dream, even though you are dreaming, you know that my true identity is the waker. So I'm not worried about what is happening in the dream because I know that my true identity is beyond the dream. Then, so he is always united with me. And then Bhagavan said, Mam eva anuttamam uttamam gatim. He said, I am the highest goal of life because there is nothing more in this world you can gain more than knowing me. Or knowing me means knowing your own true self is the highest goal of anybody in their life. So that is verse 18. So let's continue. So let's continue with verse 19. Anu, can you chant?
Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha.
This jnani is not an easy thing to find. You cannot just look at the street and see all jnanis. Samahatma sudurlabha. Such a jnani is very hard to find. Why? Because Bahunam Janmanam Ante. It takes many, many births for a person to evolve to the stature of a jnani. See, this is very evident. Look around us. How many people even have some interest in spirituality? How many people? Majority of the people don't even care about the God. That is the first category. They don't value dharma. They don't care about the world. Nothing. Right? They do anything and everything for their likes and dislikes. That is one category of people. Then there are some people, they think about the God when there is a problem comes in. But they are not interested in understanding God. They are not interested in understanding themselves. But God is a problem solver. That's it. And some people, God is a consultant for their gains, or a broker for their gains. So, Artha, Artharthi, and then there are some little bit more evolved people who wanted to study. They know that the life is not just acquiring and possessing. Along with that, I need to understand something higher. That is Jitnyasu. And once they get evolved, they get into the jnani. But this may take many, many lives. I would say all of us sitting here are blessed because we are evolved, certainly. Right? So think about this. First of all, we all got the human life. That itself is a big thing. Imagine, we all could have been born as a tree, or an animal, or an insect. This Manushya Janmam, or the human life itself, is a great gift from the God. Right? Then the second one is what? Even if I get this, that itself is a jackpot. And then, even after getting the Manushya Janma, what happens? You get the opportunity to study, right? It's not easy. When you're struggling for your day-to-day bread and living, how is it possible? So that's why Swami Vivekananda said, see, even if the God needs to present in front of a starving person, the God should go with food. Because he don't care about food. When you are struggling for your life, when you are affected by a disease, when you are struggling for your life, how can you focus on these higher things? So we need to give that gratitude for at least we can spend and devote some time to learn these things. And the question is, there are a lot of people who got the time, material, resources, and everything to learn this, but they are not interested in these things. So developing that interest in the spiritual study, getting an opportunity to study, getting an environment to study. And there are a lot of people who wanted to study, but there is no opportunity to study. The teaching is not available. The teacher is not available. Forget about this. Not long time past, about 100 years back. Forget about that. Even 70 years back or 50 years back. Suppose you want to learn Gita. What is the opportunity? Go to Rishikesh. And it is very difficult to find a teacher. But we are living in an age which is so lucky. You and I are so lucky. We got exposed to this teaching. This teaching comes to our house. Books are available. The teachers, all the great teachers, lectures are available. We got plenty of opportunity to clarify our doubt. Even I remember, like when I started studying Bhagavad Gita, like in late 90s, it was very difficult to clarify any doubts. Very, very difficult to get access to teachers or teaching. So the digitalization of the world, the internet revolution has solved that problem to a certain extent. And then, even after one get engaged in this teaching, how many people can practice Karma Yoga and Vipassana Yoga with the fullest extent? There is some grace required. And those people who got a pure mind and a clean mind, a stable mind, they pursue the knowledge. How many of them may get? So this to happen, it may take many, many lives. So all of us are lucky, and I'm sure we will continue this journey in our next lives. So Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After many, many lives, what happens? This Jnanavan Tvam Mam Prapadyate. The wise person or the Jnani will find me or get connected with me. So don't ask me like, okay, now I need to have multiple lives. No, Krishna didn't say that now onwards, but he said a person typically has to go through many lives. So some of us might be meaning maybe very closer to there. So that doesn't mean that it was one life. That means we had many lives. When you look at these great Mahatmas, look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or a Ramana Maharshi, who came to this world without anything, right? Nobody taught them Vedanta. No, they didn't go to a traditional ashram and studied Vedanta. It was in them. They came with that interest. They were almost ready in their previous life, as if, right? A Vivekananda, who went after and found this teaching. So your karma will take you there. And in the 6th chapter of the Gita, we studied this, like yoga prashtaha. If you put a lot of effort and if you haven't reached the final destination, don't worry, it will be carried forward in the next life. So after many lives, the Jnanavan Mam Prapatyade, he will reach. And what exactly he know, meaning he will know me, the Jnani will know Ishvara. How? How the Jnani will come to know Ishvara? As what? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The entire universe is Vasudeva. Vasudeva is everything. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He sees the entire universe as Vasudeva. So a loose translation is what? Krishna is everywhere. No, that is not the larger translation. So we need to go back to the Vishnu Sahasranama and try to understand who is Vasudeva. So one meaning of Vasudeva is what? Son of Vasudeva. Son of Vasudeva. Who is Vasudeva? Krishna's dad. So from that perspective, we are talking about a limited aspect of that Ishvara, which is part of Apara Prakriti, Mr. Krishna. Krishna, who was born on an Ashtami Rohini day and who left this world being shot by an arrow, right? So that is the Mr. Krishna. But Vasudeva has another meaning. Vasu means what? There is a meaning in Shankaracharya tells the manifestation of the Ishvara in the form of Sat. What is the existence of this universe? Vasu means one, Vasati as Sat. Asmin Loke Vasati as Sat Vasati. That in this universe, the existence of every being is referred as Vas. Deva means what? Chit Rupa Ishvara. Vas means Sat Rupa Ishvara. The existence. Chit means consciousness. So the existence and consciousness, Vasudeva means the one who is the existence and who is the consciousness. That is none other than Brahman, the absolute reality. So the absolute reality of the universe is me. Then that is what the Jnani comes to know. When the dream becomes a lucid dream, I know that I am dreaming. So when I am in that dream, I know that the sun I see in that dream is me, The moon I see in the dream is me. The river I see in the moon, in the dream is me. Everything is nothing but me alone. So that is what is known as Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. That such a person is very rare to find. So if I paraphrase the whole thing, after the end of many births, a person, a wise person, will recognize Ishvara as everything, right? I was in a dream, and during that dream, I found that not just me, but the entire dream space, dream time is me alone. And when that recognition happens, Vasudeva means, understand Vasudeva as the Satrupa Ishvara, Chitrupa Ishvara, which is Brahman. So such a Mahatma is Durlabha. This is another beautiful verse. Let's cover one more verse at least. So now, please go ahead.
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया.
So verse 13 was the problem of samsara, right? What is the problem of samsara? The problem of samsara means I'm trying to find permanent happiness and security from the impermanent things, impermanent world, because of the Maya. And the solution, samsara nivritti, was given from verse 14 to 19. What is the samsara nivritti? Ishvara prapaktihi, or Ishvara bhaktihi, or Ishvara sharanagati is the solution. Connect with Ishvara, bhakti of Ishvara, surrendering to Ishvara, connecting to Ishvara. And 4 ways you can get connect with Ishvara: Arthaha, Artharthi, Jijnasu, Jnani. And you may start with Artha, you may evolve into Artharthi, you may go to Jijnasu, and eventually you become Jnani. At the end, when you become Jnani, you will recognize me as the entire universe, and that is the solution for all the problem. So that set of verses are very important. So please note down. Chapter 7, verse 13 is the problem statement, and chapter 7, verse 14 to 19 is the solution, right? So now Krishna talk about a little bit more about the devotion. Whenever you think about the devotion, what is devotion? Devotion means I am an act of surrender, meaning an attitude of surrender or an attitude of love, and an act which connect Ishvara. This is what is devotion, right? And this devotion to Ishvara can be broadly classified into 2, right? Earlier we talked about 4 types of bhakta, but on a high level, this can be of 2 types. One is called sakama bhakti, other one is called nishkama bhakti. Sakama bhakti means I am devoted to Ishvara, or I am devoted to something. For what? For fulfilling a desire. I am devoted to Ishvara for fulfilling a material desire, right? That's very important. Without desire, nobody can get connected to anything, right? So if I am connected to Ishvara for getting rid of a disease, or getting rid of a problem, or getting rid of a pain, that is sakama bhakti. If I get connected to Ishvara to acquire something or possess something, that is also sakama bhakti. So if my end goal is a materialistic goal, there is nothing wrong in that. But if my end goal is a materialistic goal, That is called Sakama Bhakti. So this set of words, believe 20 to 26, I'll clarify that next week, but next few verses are going to talk about this Sakama Bhakti. Nishkama Bhakti is what? I recognize that the solution for all my problem is knowing Ishvara in its entirety, and my bhakti is to know Ishvara, not for any material object. That is called Nishkama Bhakti. Sakama Bhakti, Nishkama Bhakti. So now we are going to talk about this Sakama Bhakti. So he tells, Kamair stair Hritajnataha. Most of the people, even the devotee, what happens? Hritajnanaha. Their wisdom is clouded by or robed away by their likes and dislikes. Right? When I'm in a problem, when I'm suffering from a health problem, I cannot think anything but getting healthy. Or when I'm attached to a particular desire very strongly, there is nothing else will come to my mind. My wisdom, or meaning I know that the only way to solve my problem is to know the reality, that won't come to my mind. Those people who are addicted by artha and kama, likes and dislikes, their wisdom and their mind is robed by various types of likes and dislikes. And what happens? Prapatyante anya devata. They seek refugees from different devatas. They will invoke various deities to fulfill their desire. When Krishna say anya devata, Krishna here is referring himself as the absolute reality. The anya devata means what? See, every power in this universe is that manifestation of that one reality, right? So when let's say that I am attached to money only. So if a person is religious, whom he will pray? Goddess Lakshmi. He will pray only Lakshmi. What is his goal? Is there any spiritual upliftment? Nothing. His goal is only to gain that money. Like sometimes when you are sick, you may pray. If you are a Vaishnavite, you may pray Dhanvantari. If you are a Shaivite, you may pray Vaidyanatha or Mrityunjaya Mantra. And some people pray to Ashwini Devatas, right? Some people pray to sun god, Aditya. So different tradition has different forms. Now, extend this from the religious aspect to the material thing. Like, let's say that you are interested only in money. What would be your devotion? You would be studying more on how to, even if you are dharmic, right? Imagine, this is not talking about any bad people. You are dharmic. Your focus is what? Wealth. So your upasana is on money. When you say I'm worshipping Lakshmi, my devotion is for money. My devotion may be for health. My devotion is for something else, right? I want to get my child married. So the devotion is on that. And then what I do, I find like either if you take it materialistically, I may try to learn how to invest in better stock. I will engage various brokers in that front. And if I'm a religious person, I pray to Lakshmi Devi like that. So I try, instead of doing upasana to the supreme Paramatman or the absolute reality God, you try to worship various deities or various forms of God. And then he say, Tantam niyamam arsyaya. Each worship has its own rules and regulation. See, suppose you wanted to improve your career. What is the rules and regulations you need to follow? You need to establish more networking. You need to improve your communication skills. You need to get more certifications. You need to do parties. So this is the rules and rituals. And if you want to follow a worship on Lakshmi Devi, you have to follow certain rules and regulations. Look at these temples. Each of these rituals have lot of rules, right? Especially in Tamil Nadu area, this is very complicated. When you want the son to get married, you go there, you give a particular type of gift, the particular type of cloth to deity, and there are rules and regulation. What color of the clothes should be, which mampra you need to go, which temple you need to go. They say, right? All these priests will tell you how many times you need to go. So there are different rules and regulations. And if you extend this to the material world, suppose you want to invest money, you may have to look all the stocks, you may have to look all the conditions, you may have to do the portfolio balancing, all these rules and regulations you need to follow. So when you are devoted and try to pursue a particular materialistic item, basically you are invoking a deity, following their own rules and regulations. Prakritya niyata swayaha. So this is driven by their own nature. Suppose you wanted to get into the financial world, you need to follow that discipline. Suppose you want to improve your health, what rituals you will be doing? You will be regulating your diet, you will be doing the exercises, you will be doing the clean fasting, you will be cleansing. So if you don't follow that rituals, that results you won't get. Like that, you will be invoking various deities using their own prescribed rules, Krishna said, right? When your goal is materialistic goal, you will follow those deities and invoke their own rules. And there is nothing wrong in that. In the next verse, meaning we won't have time to cover, Krishna is saying that this is fine, and understand that when you put your effort, you will get results, and that results is coming from me. And then the next verse is a groundbreaking or a revolutionary verse. Krishna said, it doesn't matter in which form you invoke God. In whatever form you invoke God, you are invoking me. So is there anything wrong when you call the God as Shiva? See, some fanatics, right? They cannot stand the name of Shiva. Vice versa. But the next verse is it's a big blow to such fanatics. Krishna said, it doesn't matter in whatever name you call God or whatever you seek for God. I am going to bless you. Whatever is your faith. For example, your interest is in finance. I will give him more skills in finance. And when you do that, the process and the protocols in that particular domain properly, I will give them more skills and bless him in that. So that's what is going to come. So we will see that next week. But this is another interesting topic. So what we did today was we covered the bhakti, right? Samsara nivritti, the solution for the problem of samsara, we have seen as the bhakti, and we saw 4 types of bhaktas, and we saw what are all the manda bhakti, uttama bhakti, bhaktima bhakti, and we saw why the jnani is the most expert one, and what exactly the jnani realizes at the end of his journey, right? Here at the end of his journey means when he realizes God, he sees that God everywhere. And then we started out of saying that the bhakti is of 2 types, sakama bhakti, nishkama bhakti, and we started with samakama bhakti. And there is nothing wrong in that. And that is also a kind of bhakti. We will see this more next week. And I know if you can do the closing prayer, we can do a quick 5 minutes Q&A.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.